like I said, Dillian Whyte and his team will be working to what he has to do now, clear his name and make sure he convinces everybody who thinks he's guilty that he's not. And we live in an age where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Right now I think he's guilty until proven innocent. So that's his job, to make sure that, effectively he's fighting for his boxing. Right?
Not if you're going to put on a pair of gloves and get inside that square circle and physically fight somebody, and potentially you could easily lose your life, then to take anything which will give you enhance your performance, it's just wrong in my book.
A penalty, a heavy penalty, like a life ban, for instance. So people will think not just once, not just twice. They'll think 10 times before that. If you and I was doing something, we thought we're going to get a life ban and our career will be taken away, you're going to think twice before doing it. Yeah, and I think there should be a heavy penalty. I don't think
we've just got to keep our mind on the job in hand and crack on. But yeah, I'm a bit shocked to hear that, like everyone.
The boxing world has been shaken to its core as fresh steroid allegations against Dillian Whyte erupt ahead of his highly anticipated clash with Moses Itauma. What should have been a straightforward battle between a young, hungry contender and a seasoned veteran has now turned into a full-blown scandal threatening not just Whyte's career, but the integrity
will be thrown at him. And with everything that's happening in boxing right now, he will be the one that will be made an example of. They'll make an example of him.
Of the sport itself. If these accusations hold any truth, they're not merely another line on Whyte's troubled record. They're a permanent stain on boxing. Against a clean, disciplined, and laser-focused warrior like Moses Itauma, the optics couldn't be worse. Instead of hype and excitement, there's
fucking hell, cheating bastard. That's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is, but then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's someone that's failed 3 times, or this is the third adverse reaction.
Suspicion, frustration, and a growing chorus of voices demanding action. The contrast between the two camps has never been sharper. Itauma, the embodiment of hard work and purity. YT, scrambling under the shadow of yet another performance-enhancing drug storm. Veteran trainer Dave Coldwell isn't mincing words. In his
3 strikes you're out. we've crucified some people, some fighters for popping 1 time, you know what I'm saying? So, and Dillian should be no different, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the situation is, but, to be caught 3 times and, just to paint the narrative that they do, you know what I'm saying? It's bad for
his eyes. Whyte's behavior is beyond forgivable. He straight up calls him a cheating bastard, and Coldwell's not alone. Across social media, boxing gyms, podcasts, and television panels, the sentiment is unanimous. This is becoming a circus. First offense or third, nobody is buying excuses anymore. The trolls are out in full force.
If you've done it once, then you got caught out, then you do it again. It can't be contamination, can it? Because he's been caught twice for doing the same thing. So, if it was me, take his license away. Because you cannot cheat in the sport of boxing.
But this time, they're not just faceless fans. They're fighters, trainers, and respected analysts who've had enough. Michael Hunter, visibly fed up, has joined the chorus of disgust. For him, the issue is simple. 3 failed tests speak louder than any PR spin. Fans and fighters alike are done playing the wait for the investigation game. In their eyes, YT has become a running joke. And
don't forget, he's been failed 2 previous drug tests. The second one, he was exonerated. So let's not jump to conclusions. But it's not good for him, and it's not good for the sport.
Boxing circles, the punchline to a bad joke about PEDs. Former world champion Duke McKenzie takes it a step further. This isn't, as he puts it, some lab mistake. You fail once. Maybe you can claim contamination twice. That's a pattern. 3 times? That's a career defined by suspicion. McKenzie isn't speaking in whispers. He's voicing what fans have been screaming online. Take his license. In a sport where lives are literally on the line, there's no place for chemical shortcuts. McKenzie's words cut deep, and they resonate. Even Colin Hart, one of boxing's most respected journalists, who has built a reputation on being fair, can't defend YT's situation. While Hart acknowledges one of YT's tests was cleared, he points out the obvious: the cloud remains.
Said Dillian Whyte and his team will be working to what he has to do now, clear his name and make sure he convinces everybody who thinks he's guilty that he's not. And you know, we live in an age where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Right now I think he's guilty until proven innocent. So that's his job, to make sure that, you know, effectively he's fighting for his...
The optics are devastating. Across boxing forums, YT is being roasted relentlessly. It's damaging not only to his image, but to the sport's credibility. And with Moses Itauma's star rising fast, the timing couldn't be worse for YT. Promoter Eddie Hearn finds himself in an impossible position. He's doing everything he can to protect the brand and keep the fight alive, but the reality is grim. In the public's mind, YT is already guilty. Legal technicalities don't matter in the court of public opinion. Hearn's trying to hold the narrative together with duct tape, but the damage is done. A steroid scandal this close to a major fight isn't just a distraction, it's a career killer. Simon Jordan, never one to shy away from blunt truths, refuses to be swayed by PR spin. 2 failed drug tests, and we're still debating innocence? That's laughable. Jordan slices through the noise, saying what many think but won't say. If it smells dirty, it probably...
But the idea, what he is he's able to fight. The idea that he is cleared beyond any reproach is for the birds.
Oh, I disagree. I mean, we're never going to agree on it. We're never going to agree on it.
Well,
but
you
when
guys
you
probably
don't
would.
receive a
You
fine,
guys probably
when
wouldn't
you
agree
don't
on it.
receive a ban, when you are cleared and not... The reality is, he has not been found guilty.
Right. Right. All right.
Probably is. He makes a crucial point. Even without an official ban, the stink of suspicion doesn't wash off. Fans aren't just skeptical, they're angry. Spencer Oliver joins Jordan in calling for an uncompromising stance. Fail a drug test, and you're done. No second chances, no excuses. Oliver reminds everyone that boxing isn't football. There are no substitutions here. Fighters are risking their lives. If someone's juicing, it's not just cheating, it's potentially lethal. His message is clear. Leniency has bred repeat offenders who feel untouchable. This culture of wrist slaps needs to end. For most of the boxing world, YT isn't seen as a threat to Moses anymore. He's seen as a liability, a man clinging to relevance with the help of chemistry. While Itauma grinds away in the gym, YT is fighting for clean headlines and losing. Johnny Nelson adds his voice, sounding both confused and disappointed. He draws parallels to the...
Yeah, listen, I've always been strong on that. I've always been strong on the fact that I don't believe in giving them a second chance.
You're basically saying no 3 strikes and you're out.
No 3 strikes
and you're out.
No.
1, you fail the test and gone ski.
Absolutely, because I just believe then that moving forward, people would think twice about doing it. If they think, well, you know what, I'll get a second chance anyway, you know.
The chaos surrounding Conor Benn's drug scandal. 1 minute, breaking news. The next, silence and spin. Nelson's frustration is rooted in the lack of transparency, the drip feed of information that leaves fans feeling manipulated. In his view, the delay in clarity only deepens suspicion. Meanwhile, Moses Itauma has become a symbol of discipline. All focus, no drama. Every moment YT spends in crisis mode, Itauma spends perfecting his craft. The contrast couldn't be more damning. Daniel Dubois keeps it short and brutal. Drug cheats need to step aside, period. His no-nonsense stance is echoed by clean fighters everywhere. Why should someone using banned substances share a ring? And the risks, with a fighter who's doing it the hard way. Dubois speaks for the gym rats, the early risers, the road warriors who build their bodies and careers through pure effort, even outside the ring.
I don't know what drugs you take. It doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter. And that's proof. You know, so until more news
voices are chiming in. Joe Rogan, with his trademark mix of humor and hard truth, makes the point that redemption stories don't erase shady track records. Boxing, perhaps more than any other sport, remembers. Fail a PED test, and you carry that label for life. No amount of spiritual awakening or media rehab can erase it. In the eyes of many, Itauma's rise is even more impressive given the backdrop. He's doing it clean, focused, and distraction-free, the exact opposite of YT's chaotic camp. When they meet in the ring, the narrative will be unavoidable: purity versus controversy. McKenzie doubles down, repeating his call to strip YT's license. Throw them out, he says of drug cheats. In a sport where fatalities happen, even with clean fighters, there's no justification for adding
that are, doing that sort of thing. So, drug cheats need to, they need to step aside and let real fighters fight.
Chemical danger into the mix. Boxing authorities, McKenzie argues, have been far too lenient, allowing YT to skate by with repeated benefits of the doubt. Trainer Don Charles shifts the conversation toward the governing bodies themselves. If drug use is rampant, the fault doesn't just lie with the offenders. It lies with the weak-handed regulators who hand out laughable fines and short suspensions. If those substances were in YT's system, it's not forgivable, Charles says flatly. Fighters like Itauma, who live and breathe the sport, sacrifice every comfort, and bleed for progress, shouldn't have to share their stage with cheats. Charles' frustration mirrors that of fans who've grown tired of repeat offenders. The solution, in his eyes, is simple: life bans. The current system treats suspensions as vacations. If the punishment threatened a fighter's entire career, PED use would plummet overnight. And Charles isn't just talking about YT. He's talking about the culture boxing has created, one where a fighter with multiple failed tests can still headline major events. What message does that send to the next generation?
A two-sided story there. He got off PEDs, and he also found Jesus Christ. So he stopped going to strip clubs, he stopped hanging out with girls, but he stopped having fun. And then got serious about Jesus and got knocked the fuck out. Take them steroids.
That you can cheat, get caught, serve a short ban, and come right back to the spotlight. Itauma represents the antithesis of that, the hard road, the right road. This fight is no longer just about fists. It's about legacy, pride, and truth. Moses Itauma stands as the face of the future, young, clean, and dangerously focused. YT's name, meanwhile, is buried under suspicion, controversy, and questions that won't go away, with so many respected voices, from McKenzie to Don Charles, calling out the drug use. The pressure on YT has never been higher. If Moses wins, it's not just a victory in the ring. It's a win for every clean athlete fighting the right way. But if YT somehow pulls off the upset despite the baggage, what message does that send? Can fans truly cheer a fighter clouded by scandal? Will sponsors stand by a man whose name is synonymous with controversy? These are the questions hanging over the fight like a storm cloud.
If it was me, take his license away. Because you cannot cheat in the sport of boxing. Not if you're going to put on a pair of gloves and get inside that square circle and physically fight somebody, and potentially you could easily lose your life.
This bout has become a referendum on what kind of sport boxing wants to be. Do we want clean, disciplined athletes who earn every advantage through sweat and sacrifice? Or are we willing to accept a future where chemical shortcuts are part of the game? When the bell rings, the spotlight will be as much on the symbolism as on the action. Itauma will represent the promise of the next generation, a future built on hard work and respect for the craft. YT will represent the temptations and moral hazards that have plagued boxing for decades. The gloves are going on, but so are the questions. Who's mentally stronger? Who truly wants it more? And who, when the lights are brightest, can walk the walk without a chemical crutch? We know where we stand. We're backing Moses Itauma all the way. The future of the sport. The clean fighter in a dirty era. But the beauty and the curse of boxing is that the ring doesn't lie. It will tell the truth on fight night. Now it's your turn. Are you riding with the future, or do you believe YT can somehow redeem himself?
This is very unforgiving. You can't, I'm sorry. Provided he's been found, it's 100% that those substances were found in his system, it's unforgiving. And you know what? I blame the governing bodies because I don't believe that they imposing heavy enough fines.
The clock is ticking, the world is watching, and the answers are coming.